Hello, join me for a garden tour, a little update. Things have changed a bit. You might see some hummers behind me, if they're brave enough. I finally found the trick. A lot of my hummingbird feeders were staying full. They weren't eating a lot. And I hung a couple more. I finally outnumbered the bullies. They would just protect it and not let anybody else drink. So now that we're outnumbered by the bullies, I have a couple here that they're going crazy over. They just love it. It's been fun to watch them. You might see a couple at that one behind me on the fence there. Now that was one they were fighting over before. There was one protecting that. I think they've kind of started to give up. But these two over here, they're empty now. They've been pigging out on those. I think part of it's they get together in a group and outnumber the bully, and I figured out that that works too. I have 7 feeders out now, and they're just the cheapy feeders I got at Walmart. I actually caught some on sale for 50 cents each. They've held up the second year here I'm using them. And for my syrup mixture, I have a container. I'll put 6 cups of water in and 6 1/4 cups of sugar. So I just keep the 1/4 cup scoop in my sugar container and count out 6. So 1/4 cup of sugar to every cup of water. That works really well. Yeah, they're going nuts over that one because the other 2 are empty. Once in a while the cats are getting some still, but they seem to get them, for some reason they hit the back of the trailer sometimes, and then the cats hear that and go for that little wounded, stunned hummingbird. So I've lost like 3 total, so it's not bad out of all of these. I've had like 12 to 14 birds at one feeder at one time. So we'll start our garden tour. Take a walk with me. Everything's glistening with raindrops. Never heard it raining last night, but it must have. So pretty. The nasturtium has started growing out of the cage. My peppers are in there with it, along with some basil. There's quite a bit in this bed, but I've been getting peppers already. I got a couple big bell peppers out of here. The jalapenos are starting to get big enough to eat. They're mild right now, but that's all right with me. By the end of the season, they're pretty hot. My big boy tomato plant has gotten huge. I added more rebar in there for support because it was getting to the point where it was drooping over. We have a kitty exploring in there. Let's see what she's doing. What you doing, little girl? And you can see this is my beefsteak tomato plant. I got 2 big ones off of here. The other ones are lagging behind. But there's a lot of green ones developing. Hi, baby. I planted some hollyhocks in here. I think they'd actually bloom. Yeah, we have a little pest here. What are you doing? Little shy girl. Nobody ever sees her that comes by and visits here. She hides. She doesn't realize everybody's watching her. I love the blush color. Gosh, that's pretty. She's rubbing against the camera here. With these beefsteaks, it's such a pretty peachy blush color when they start to ripen. You can see that other one there. Girl. Are you looking for any hummingbirds you can reach? This is a garden video, not a cat video. You think you're a star. I planted moss rose in this little cubby that are doing really well there, along with the thyme. My thyme plant almost died, but it's come back and done wonderful. There is a sage plant hiding underneath that cosmo. The cosmo's gotten really big. Not blooming yet, but I think it's going to be beautiful. Still coming along, but I'm going to have to get that sage out of there. Because the sage in itself can get very big. That'll be a perennial. Keep getting larger. And I've seen them, a neighbor has one that's like 3 foot, a big 3 foot tall bush. Or taller maybe. It's amazing. So it needs its special spot. The Russian sage here, totally different looking plant. That's more of a culinary sage down under the cosmo. But my Russian sage is doing great. I've always had good luck with it, and it'll reseed itself. There'll be little babies next spring all over. And the moss rose did well in that little planter. It's a little metal, like a smush bucket. Got them at a rummage sale, but they're really cute. Love that one, and it's doing great. Finally found something that's pretty easy care for this hot weather we had. And there's my rusty tools on the fence, if nobody's seen that before. Just got them wired onto there. Added a rake in there. It's an old rake, it's really cool. It's a square part there, so it looks like it could be handcrafted. And the handle broke off a little bit, so it's kind of short, and it's very heavy to work with, so it's a good place for it. I never knew Alyssum would get that big. It's over a foot tall. And there's my pumpkin in there. My big pumpkin. And I do have some other ones growing. Oh, we have a new blossom here. Got a bee on there. Oop, there he goes. That would be a male blossom there. So. But I do have a baby there. This one decided to grow up onto this raised bed planter from the other side of the fence, but that's looking really healthy. The Chinese or Napa cabbage, that's the second planting I've done this year, and I'm going to get another going maybe around some other things, but it kind of gets crowded in there, so maybe I can find a spot in a bed. But it's been an easy grower. The stuff I see in the store is more of a compact head. But either way, it works well as a salad green, but I also fried some up with some onions, and I think it was a little bit of vinegar and sugar in it and butter. And I actually froze some in seal meal packets. So I had a bunch of it, so I cut it way back. It gets big. You can see I harvested my sunflower. I have it hanging in the shed. I didn't have a bird get a single seed, so it did really well. My borage is doing great. It actually has a wonderful flavor. Even the leaves, though they're fuzzy, once you get past that, or you use it in something else or blend it, it's really, they're tasty. They're almost like a cross between cucumber and watermelon. It's unusual flavor. It'd be great juicing. And I have a tomato hidden in that mess. And an orange mallow growing there, which was a wild one. I wasn't sure what was growing there, so I let it grow. But I like the taller ones. I get a lot of smaller, shorter species of those. The taller ones are quite pretty. I figured the ladybugs had enough time to reproduce and pulled out all the kale that had the aphids on it. The ladybugs love the aphids, so I had left that for a while. But now I put some compost in here after digging it up again, some compost and some food scraps that I had, and I put a couple handfuls of worms in there from my worm bins. I think they'll grow well in there. In one of my other beds I was digging and actually found some worms. That was great. And these babies down here, I've got little poppies growing and some kind of Mexican, I forget the name of it. I think it is something with the word Mexican in it. I might think of it later. But they finally grew from seed and started doing something. I love the little poppies like this. Gorgeous. My chives really took off, got quite big. They'll be multiplying in there. They're doing fine. And that is a butterfly milkweed plant that I grew from seed. It's the only one, I planted seeds all over the place of that, but this is the only one that did anything. So I think it'll survive. That's a perennial, so it'll be around next year. Brussels sprouts are Brussels sprouting a little bit down there. They still have a ways to go. Just a very long-term plant. My fish fertilizer, that's the main fertilizer I use on anything when it needs it. Another little thing of moss rose. I have a baby yarrow plant down there. I keep trimming back the leaves so it can get some light. And the crookneck squash still going strong. They had a little slack time here. Coming around again though. Another nice pumpkin growing here. That one's not a bad size one. It's still growing too. This, I believe, is one of the Lady Godivas. It's ugly, but it's only for the seeds. Here's the other view of that pumpkin. It's doing great. And another one. There's another pumpkin down here. Not a bad one. Starting to ripen. The ones on the ladder aren't quite so pretty anymore. But we do have two nice Lady Godivas hanging down there. Another pretty flower, another male one. And we have another Lady Godiva hiding down here. Just nice, that's a quiet one. Just sitting around there. Basil's doing great. It's above my knee level. Really healthy. Ice plant will be getting some cuttings off of there that probably are rooting into the wood chips. I can move that stuff around. It's an amazing plant. I had it planted in a different place in the spring and rabbits started eating it. They're not supposed to like it, but the rabbits were very hungry this spring. brandywines getting really big, and this guy needs some more support. My toolbox. Paint is holding up well. I was wondering if it would hold water inside and be a problem, but I haven't seen any collecting in there yet. Still waiting for, I forget now, it's been so long, bee balm I think this is. Hopefully I'll get some blooms soon. Cilantro, I've cut down a couple that were going to seed. But they're nice mixed in with the tomatoes because the scent of them distracts things that like tomatoes. So kind of be a cover scent. Yeah, this baby's gotten tall. Yeah, I think this big boy tomato plant is going to be a pretty good producer. They're coming on late, but we still have plenty of time. So I had 2 off it. As you can see, there's 3 hiding there. A couple more there. Lots of flowers on top. And this thing still wants to grow bigger. I've been pruning off. There's a shoot I'll prune off. I had to go in and do this so many times already, and it grows so fast that it's hard to keep up with. It was getting pretty branchy, pretty heavy at the top. You can see the bottom is bare. It's worked. They're still staying healthy. There's some leaf curl, but I think it's just stress related because they got kind of curly but leathery, and everything else seems to be really healthy, so I think we're good there. There's another little thing to pick off there. Yeah, they're growing new ones so fast. I think the pruning is going to give me some nice tomatoes. It does reduce your quantity, but you get bigger tomatoes. But it's a lot to keep up with. There's another one. I mean, just in a week, they pop up. Just have to keep at it. Yeah. I'm standing in front of my big boy tomato plant. So you can see how tall that is. I'm like 5'7", so there you go. This thing's doing great. Now just for some tomatoes off of it. One of the first things I planted was sweet peas along this fence line, so there's a few random ones here and there. Nothing blooming yet, but they're getting pretty tall. I like this area. It's a whole mishmash of stuff and crowded, but I love it. I actually had one tomato off my Oregon tomato plant there. That was one I started from seed, one of the few, the only of the Oregon type that survived. I had problems with seedlings. Tomatillos gotten nice and big. I kind of had to stake that one up. It was sprawling over a bit. My cucumber vines are looking pretty healthy, but I don't have a single cucumber yet. Nothing. So I don't know. These did get a late start, and maybe I'm just expecting them too early. Lots of blooms, but I have a feeling that they're male blooms. It's hard to tell on a cucumber. But the vines have even gone back behind the fence. So they're looking healthy. Maybe I just need to be patient. I have 2 zucchini plants in this bed. And they are doing pretty well. Oh, there's one down there. That one's about ready to pick. There was another plant right in here, but it must have had like a cutworm or something on the root of it. On the main stem, it just kind of wilted and died. The beans kind of got crowded here, but I have a few pods. These, they're the type of bean to let to go to maturity, and they have a black and white color seed, so we'll get a few out of them I can use to plant next year in a different spot. Let's see how those do again. They just didn't have a chance in among the zucchini. My red raspberry died. It almost was putting on new leaves and then decided to die. It's had plenty of water. It's like they just wilted. So I don't know what's up there. A couple more borage. I planted a few seeds around because they're so neat. Yarrow. My spare zucchini, just in case the other ones didn't do so well, I popped that one in there. But my blackberry is doing great and it's spreading. I should have some blackberries next year. Maybe I'll have to stick with blackberries instead of the raspberries. Don't know. There's Hero again, if anybody's missed him. Hi buddy, you're my friend. Just a lazy day. Alright, thanks for joining me again. This is Cindy from Boise Creative Living saying bye for now. I'm gonna get some craft projects going. I've been working on a painted sign, so I'll have a video coming up of that. It's actually one for my sister Nancy. Kind of a funny one. So I'll work on that video. That'll be my next video after this one. So keep on watching. Thanks.